You're looking
Yeah.
at the quotes and the memes that are all about like, sleep later, work harder than everybody else in the room. And I just was grabbing onto that. And I was young. I was grabbing onto that. Oh, I can do it. I can push hard. And, it's all compounding. It's not like you go in
Right.
thinking this is what I'm creating. You go in thinking, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if I could reach this goal? And you're willing
Yes.
to
Yes.
work hard to reach that goal, right? But then you reach it and you think, well, what if I could do this? What if I could do this? Opportunities keep showing up and you think, well, I don't want to miss them. I don't want to say no to anything. And
Right.
so all of a sudden you look around and you realize that chaos is your mascot. And
Mm.
every single day you think, well, next week's going to get better. Next month will get better, but it never does.
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, 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 Fearless Freedom Tribe. This is Dr. G, and we are back for another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. Today, we have Leah Remillet with us, and she's going to tell us all about who she is and all of the incredible things that she is up to. Take it away, Leah.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. So I am Leah, and I am a systems strategist who is obsessed with doing less but better. Basically, I was on that hustle hamster wheel. I totally jumped onto the hustle harder culture and I was going for it. I thought the only way to be successful is you just aren't allowed to stop, until I literally collapsed, which made me stop, reevaluate everything. I ended up in an ambulance. And before I even, it was not good. It was not one of my finer moments. And the honest truth was I'd done it to myself because I had stopped sleeping. I, barely had time for anything. And so before I was even discharged from the hospital, this kind of shows my personality. I was already making a plan on how I was going to change everything. And so I was like, I have got to drop my hours. I have got to set boundaries. I've got to get my systems into my business, get organized, and I need to figure out how to make this work for my family and my personal health. I'm tired of sacrificing. I want to be able to feel like a great mom, feel like I'm present, and have this business that I love, but it has to stop competing with each other. So I figured that out. I cut my hours back to part-time. And then I finally realized, it took me longer than it should have, but I finally realized that this was not just a me problem. This is a collective we problem as women trying to really just be it all and do it all. And we're struggling, but, especially when you're looking at the perfect Instagram or Pinterest, it looks like everybody's got it together and you're the only one that's like failing. And so when I finally realized this is not just a me thing, I started sharing everything that I was doing. And for the last decade, that's what I do. I help women build their businesses in a way that just feels great for them.
10 years. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so you got to tell us what happened? Like, you just literally just collapsed?
So what happened was I was working full-time, even though I was trying to act like I wasn't. And I was also full-time taking care of the kids, stay-at-home mom. And I was our breadwinner. I was our primary income. My husband was in graduate school working on, his stuff. And so I was doing everything and I couldn't figure out how to fit it all in. So I started, what started as me working a little bit at night actually turned into me stopping sleeping. So I would put the kids down about 8. I would work till about 5 a.m. then I would literally, I mean, sometimes my head would hit the keyboard. That's how exhausted I was. I dragged myself to sleep. The kids would wake up at about 7 a.m. and I'd do it again. And I figured out I could do this for 3 to 4 days in a row. Then I would do one day where I'd sleep 5 to 6 hours, and then I would do it again. And I did that for a good year to 18 months.
Oh my God.
Until, it was, I mean, not a strategy I would suggest. And I'll be honest, I was looking at it at first thinking I had like gamed the system. Like I thought, oh, you mere mortals who have to sleep. Like I don't have to. I mean, it was ludicrous, really. And so I kept doing that. And, I should have seen the signs. I should have seen that I was edgy, that I was exhausted all the time, that things that I used to love, I wasn't loving anymore, that, I kind of stopped caring, right? All those signs of burnout were there, but I didn't see them. I just kept thinking, well, this is what you have to do. This is the only way. I mean, I really believed that there was not a better way. I was terrified that this was it. And so one day a week on Wednesdays, I would take the kids to somewhere. This was, pre-smartphones. Right. And so it was the only way I could be truly present as a mom. And it was really the 4 or 5 hours out of a week, which is 168, that I didn't feel like a bad mom because I was actually there. And so I had memberships for everything, the zoo, the children's museum. Sure, there was a forestry center. Like I had them for all of it. Yeah. And so on Wednesday afternoons, I would take the kids because they were still little. I mean, I didn't even have them in full-time school yet. So I would take them. We would go to one of those things. So this particular day, we were at the zoo. We were in the alligator exhibit, and we're looking at the alligators, and I start feeling everything closing in. My vision is going out. Everything's going black. My hearing's going out, and I can tell I'm going down. And so I tried to get myself outside with them. I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an 8-month-old at the time. Mm-hmm. And I collapsed when I came to. I was on a stretcher being put into the ambulance, and I locked eyes with my oldest, with my 3-year-old daughter, and her little eyes were so big.
Oh, so big. She's like, what is going on?
She is terrified. Exactly. She is petrified. Her mommy is being taken away in this box of a vehicle with big sirens, and she's being left alone, clutching her little 2-year-old sister's hand, and then the baby is in the stroller. And I just promised myself this would never happen again. And the honest truth is I did it to myself. And I'm not saying that in a poor me way. I'm saying I'm acknowledging my part in this, and that my choices to stop sleeping had repercussions. And so that was it. I was like, this absolutely will never happen again. I will walk away from my business, which was a multi-6-figure business. I mean, it was not going to be easy to walk away from, but I was like, I will not do this. I either find a better way or I close the doors. And I love entrepreneurship. Like it is in my DNA. And so that was something that I did not want to have to do, but I was willing. And so I went all in with, okay, does work-life balance exist? And if it does, how do I actually achieve it?
Wow. That's wild. Like that is such a story, because I'm just thinking there's like so many times when people don't realize that they're doing self-destructive things like that because they're working towards a goal, like yes, you say you felt like you were gaming the system, but this is also 10 years ago. So you're 10 years younger, right? So there's that element of like youth and invincibility that's part of it.
Totally.
Right? And so it's just, and
you're listening incredible to everything that's out there, right? You're looking at the quotes and the memes that are all about sleep later, work harder than everybody else in the room. And I just was grabbing onto that. And I was young. I was grabbing onto that. Oh, I can do it. I can push hard. And, it's all compounding. It's not like you go in thinking this is what I'm creating. You go in thinking, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be amazing if I could reach this goal? And you're willing to work hard to reach that goal, right? But then you reach it and you think, well, what if I could do this? What if I could do this? Opportunities keep showing up and you think, well, I don't want to miss them. I don't want to say no to anything.
Right.
And so all of a sudden you look around and you realize that chaos is your mascot. And every single day you think, well, next week's going to get better. Next month will get better, but it never does. And,
Right.
you're constantly just frazzled, but you don't know any other way out of it. And then, we become so reliant because, I remember when I first started my business, my goal was $1,000 a month. I mean, that felt huge. Like if
that's a great goal. I mean, that's an
great
excellent goal.
It was amazing. So, you reach that one and you're like, wow, this is really helping. Well, what if I could reach the next one? What if we didn't need any student loans anymore? What if, I could pay for everything? What if, because like I said, my husband was in graduate school. We were trying to, better ourselves and build ourselves up.
Build your life up. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And so you just keep thinking like, what if I could do the next thing? And all of a sudden you look around and you're like, is this what it's all about? Is this as good as it gets? Is this what I was going for? Because honestly, I've reached everything. Like every goal I could have ever dreamed of for myself, I've hit it and I don't feel good. Like this is so devastating to think like, is this it? And the goodness of that statement is that it wasn't. Like there was a better way, but it was terrifying for that period of time when I thought, what if this is it? What if this is what you get to and this is what it feels like? And I was ashamed for a while to admit to anybody that I wasn't happy because I'd reached everything. Everyone's looking at me like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Yes, I didn't want to tell anybody like, actually, I'm miserable. I feel like a fraud. I feel guilty all the time. When I'm working, I feel like I should be with my family. When I'm with my family, I just know I'm getting further behind at work. I didn't want to admit any of that. So I just kept smiling and being like, yeah, it's the dream, until I couldn't hide from it. And then I finally realized there's a lot of women who feel like me. There's a lot of women who are trying to figure out how we balance and everything. That's why my podcast is called Balancing Busy, because I realized I'm not the only one out there trying to figure out how we balance this. So that became my dream, and my focus was I want to help other women figure out how to do less but better.
So I mean, in you talking about this, I heard a couple of places where fear might have played a role, right? So the fear from your daughter's face, when she saw you going away in the ambulance, and I'm sure that there was fear from your side, like, okay, what is going on? Like, what's happening next? Like, where do I go from here? And it almost sounds like, for you, it almost sounds like you take that fear and you like flip it, like you turn it into something practical, like a fuel for the solutions.
I think you are completely right. Actually, that's so funny and so insightful of you, but you're right. Like I feed on fear because I feel like I have to prove that it's not real, right? Like I see something and I'm like, it doesn't have to be this way. It's, I remember as a kid learning about how one of the best ways to overcome your fears is, what is it called? What's the technical word for it? I can't think of it right now, but you go and face it, right? If you're afraid of spiders, you have to go be around spiders. That sounds horrible.
It's like desensitization training.
Yes. And so, I look at, I don't like scary movies. And if I ever have to go see a scary movie, I spend the whole time telling myself, this isn't real. I work myself through it so that it doesn't mess with me. I feel like I actually do that in real life. When things scare me, I'm determined to reverse engineer it, to figure out how I make it unscary, right? Like if you're afraid of the dark, I'm going to figure out how to flip the light on and show that there's nothing there to be afraid of.
Beautiful. Oh, that's great. Yeah, because, it's like, so I mean, and I know your kids are older now, and they are at the place where you can maybe even, I don't even know if you've had a conversation with your daughter about that day. Have you ever talked to her about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She doesn't remember it, and
Okay.
it didn't
Okay.
stick in her the way it stuck for me. So I mean,
Okay.
she
All right.
vaguely remembers it. For her, like, my husband was only where he went to school was only about 15 minutes away. He got
Okay.
the call. He was there instantly to grab them.
Okay.
They,
Okay.
you know,
Cool.
and so there ended up being someone who knew us at the zoo who was able to be with them and wait with them. So it
Okay.
wasn't
Okay.
nearly as traumatic for her as it
Okay.
was for me. For me,
Gotcha.
that is hands down the worst parenting moment of my life, right? Like
Fair.
that was the moment where I, I just felt like I had truly failed them. And again, that's because I knew that it was my actions that caused my body to,
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
basically my body went on strike. My body was
Yeah.
like, we are
It's like
done
a
with
hard stop.
your
Let's stop
crazy
here now.
shenanigans.
Wow. Okay. All right. I could see how it would be a little bit a softened like blow for her then if
Yeah,
there were
and she
people
was
there
so young.
familiar to her and everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Cool.
she's heard the story from my perspective. So she's actually going to college this year. So I
Oh,
mean,
very nice.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's heard the story from my perspective, and she, understands what happened. But for her, she was really young. It all kind of got, taken care of. But I have no doubt that that was very scary for her. I mean, how could it
Yes.
not be?
Yeah. Of
So
course.
yeah.
Of course. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's very, 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 that's a very vivid story. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and then the thing is that, despite our best efforts, there's always going to be a hard stop at some point. I mean, thankfully it was a situation where you were not in danger,
Yes.
physically, because I mean, what
Yes.
if you were driving, or what if you were, I'm saying, like, there's other times
Absolutely.
when it could have happened, and it's just a blessing that it happened in a situation where somewhat controlled,
Yeah,
and safe
absolutely.
for everybody. Yeah. So, yeah, but you're right. There are definitely um times when our bodies definitely say this is enough, and kind of give us that hard stop that kind of course corrects us forcibly.
Yes, that's the thing. We're either going to learn to set boundaries the hard way or the easy way. That's the truth.
Yes.
Like, you can
Yes.
either learn from someone else's mistakes, learn from mine, or, you're going to just keep pushing those boundaries until you find out painfully. And so it's the same thing with our health, right? We either take
Absolutely.
care of our bodies and they take care of us, or we don't, and then they start breaking down and we are forced to take care of
Yes.
them. And so yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh my gosh. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available if you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us. Then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. And then so now, so for 10 years now, you've been helping women to be able to have that balance. And
Yeah.
you have to tell us, so besides a podcast, are you doing like coaching or programs or something?
I am. Yes. So
Okay.
we have so many different options and opportunities. So I am a speaker. I love speaking, and at conferences and retreats, I usually host one a year of my own, and then I'll get one or two others. Again, I'm very conscious of balance. So I, try to be careful to not commit myself, even though you want to say yes to everything. One of the keys to truly feeling like you're thriving and not just surviving is recognizing that every yes is a no somewhere else. So that has really helped me to realize when I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? Usually it's my family. So I'm very conscious of that. But sometimes it's, other things. So I host a retreat once a year, and you can find me sometimes at different conferences. I have courses and a membership. We're actually getting ready to launch a new one, which I am so excited about, that will be coming. That's called MBA Mom Business Academy. One of the biggest things for me is that a lot of the things that are out there, they don't apply when you work from home. When you are running a business, like you're raising a business and babies at the same time, you don't just close the door and nobody bugs you. That is just not the way it works. Yeah. And so, over all these years, raising them from babies, I mean, literally they were babies when I started, to, now I'm going to be an empty nester in 3 years. It's so crazy.
Scary to think.
Oh, I hate it. I'm not going to lie. I hate it. But like through all that, I've, had years and years to test and try and figure out what actually works for us as women. It's so fascinating to think about. Our grandmothers couldn't have even imagined being able to do what we do. It wasn't possible for them, right? Like it really wasn't until World War II that women were even really starting to they were given, more, I guess you would say, important, that's not the right word, but roles in the work industry, because the men were off at war. Right. But then when they came back, we were expected to go back to the house and give the men back their jobs. So when you think about that, we are talking about, in the last not even 100 years, that like 100. Everything that we now do is even available to us. So we're still pioneering and figuring it out. And so I wanted to create a space where specifically for women entrepreneurs, I could show, here's everything I've learned over, all these years. Here's how you get more time and more money and more visibility, more reach, but without compromising your home, your health, your happiness. And so I've got that. I've obviously got the Balancing Busy podcast. All kinds of places.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And so, so they know where to find you as far as the podcast is concerned, Balancing Busy. But what about your contacts on social? Like, how can they reach you?
Yeah. So Leah Remillet, that is truly hard to spell. So also you can just go to balancingbusy.com. Balancingbusy.com will take you to my website, to the podcast website, and you'll be able to find all the links everywhere. We have a free masterclass. We have a lot of incredible free resources to just get women who are feeling chaotic, frazzled, overwhelmed, to get you some time back. And then with that time, we want to help you to really kind of invest the time that you're getting back to get you even more time back. And then once you've gotten a bunch of time back, then we want to show you how to like now make more money. But I think one of our things is we get a little bit of time and we instantly think we need to now just give it away for more things. It's like, no, let's get some time and invest that time into getting more time. And then we can evaluate and really start figuring out what we need for our businesses, for our life, and investing our time in the right places.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Wow. It's such a good conversation, and this is definitely something that applies across the board. So, I mean, yes, absolutely a unique scenario of being home, running a business from home, and raising the children at the same time. But this applies to women who are working outside the home as well. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, but I definitely see like the huge value of your unique expertise in that, because you've had, you've run a very successful business from the home and while raising the children, which I think is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So that's like amazing. And so, that is a very unique skill set.
it,
Very unique.
I mean, it is, but at the same time, I think it's becoming more and more and more common where,
Well, forcibly so though, right? Because
right. I was going to say after COVID, right? After the pandemic, like, look at you and I, we're like, hey, we're in our home offices. We're here. Let's
yeah,
make it happen. I mean, so many of us are learning how to do something more hybrid, whether
yeah,
you do have a career or you are an entrepreneur or whatever it is. And the fact that just we can, whatever you do, you are accessible 24/7 because we all have a smartphone.
yeah,
That is its
that part.
own very unique thing to learn how to navigate and set boundaries around, because even if you do technically work outside of your home,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure your work follows you back home, right? And that in itself is very new. I remember when my dad was working and my mom were working, if they needed to be called, if they needed to be reached,
right.
someone called the landline and asked if they were home, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
now we get a text and we're expected to answer
Respond to
immediately.
it no matter what. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I mean
It's
it's
nuts.
just so different, and
Yeah,
it really is a very different, unique time that no other generation has ever experienced. We are experiencing this, collectively for the first time. And so, yeah, we're making a lot of mistakes and we're getting some of it right. And we're trying to
yeah,
navigate and figure this out. And we need information, we need help, we need community that allows us to realize how we can do this in a better way without, collapsing at the zoo, or
yeah,
at a more likely scenario, just constantly feeling like all of these things are competing and that you don't have any white space. We need more
yeah.
white space to just be able to feel like we can be fully present, because we're
Right.
always going to be at our best when we're present in the moment.
Fair. No, that's good. No, absolutely. That's very true. Very, very true. And it's definitely something that has well, I mean, the pandemic just completely rewrote a lot of the things.
Oh, yeah.
It's just really funny. Not well, the other thing that I think is actually pretty credible about, working from home and the kids and everything is because like our children have been homeschooled, right? So we never had the thing where they went away to school until now, recently. But like we didn't have that. So that's why I said, I think it's incredible that you did what you did because I just remember they're always around, which is good. But it's
Yeah.
like, but you do have to set boundaries. You have to say, well, give me 4 hours. I need to get some stuff done. And then we're going to go and do X, Y, or Z. So I totally related to you and the memberships, because we definitely had memberships everywhere because of that, right? Like when you get
Yeah.
away from the home, that's is really when you can get the focus on them, because otherwise you're like in your office working, or you're like helping them with schoolwork, but it's not really the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's absolutely. Oh, it's so true.
because that was something that I thought about when you said that. I was like, oh wow, yeah, we homeschooled, so they kind of always were around, and we
So
still had
we've
to
done
work.
homeschool too. We've done everything. I mean, we just really like to keep things interesting, I guess.
Oh yeah,
So
sure.
we have done everything. So, obviously when I started my business, none of them were in school yet. Then I
Right.
remember
Too
getting them
little.
into preschool and being like, what is this sweet magic? I am alone for a few hours. Then it
Yes.
was, like kindergarten, they were all in school. Then, crazy enough, this is its own completely different story. But in 2015, 16, we took our kids out of school. We bought 5 one-way tickets and got the kids passports, and we traveled the world for a year. And so we
Beautiful.
homeschooled them for
Beautiful.
that year, and
Yes.
just really wanted to experience everything. I wanted to really be fully present with them. I pulled back with my business. I had set it up where it was very automated. I could work very part-time. So every once in a while, they'd all have to hang out in a McDonald's while I was in the McDonald's parking lot, because just FYI for
With the
everyone, it has
Wi-Fi.
the best
Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Everywhere.
With
Everywhere. Everywhere
Yes.
though. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
If you are international, you can count on McDonald's
Yes.
Wi-Fi. So
It's
I'd
true.
be on my laptop doing a webinar or something, right? While they're all, inside McDonald's hanging out for the hour. And so, we got to have that incredible experience for a year. And then when we came back, we weren't quite sure where we wanted to settle. So we
Sure.
kept homeschooling because we're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we'll just figure this out. And then we thought they'd go back into school, but they ended up homeschooling and kind of doing a little hybrid, like with a co-op for a few years. And then COVID happened. And then we're like,
Yes.
okay, well, we got the hang of this. So we're just going to keep them as
Right.
is. And then my youngest has been back in school for 3 years, right? Since
Okay.
COVID. And
Yeah.
my middle is doing like a running start program. So she's, mostly at the college. And then my oldest, she ended up doing a running start program as well, but she was home the whole time. So yes,
Nice.
there's layers to every single one of our lives,
Oh,
right? That just
yes.
complicates things in a beautiful way. But we have to
Absolutely.
figure out how we make that work so that it can feel more beautiful
Yeah.
than, just crazy.
No, that's fantastic. No, I love it. I love that. Yeah, we homeschooled for about 9 years. And
Wow.
then we moved across the world. And then when they moved across the world, they wanted to go to school, so we put them in school. So this is like, since we moved here, this is the first time they've been in school, like formal
Okay.
school. Yeah.
And it's so interesting with their personalities, right? Like my youngest, he loves the socialization. He absolutely loves people. So I could feel it. He was
Yeah.
going to want to be in school because he needed people around him. Whereas my oldest, I mean, she was very clear and very blunt. Like, I never want to step foot in a high school. If I never have to, that will be excellent. She just has never, she never loved the formal education experience. It just
Right.
didn't fit for her. Where
Yeah.
our youngest, it totally fits for him. So yeah, it's so
Yeah,
fascinating
they
as
are
their
very different individuals,
personalities.
the same genes, but different
Oh
people.
man, are they different? Yep.
No, that's so true. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wow, look at all these parallels we have.
Oh, I know. I love it. Don't you? I love that if you talk with anyone for long enough, you're going to find the
Yeah,
commonality.
lots
You're
of,
going to
yeah,
find the
absolutely.
connections and realize like, oh, there it is. There's that thread that, binds us all together. I love it so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know what? This has been such an awesome conversation. And we are at that part of the show where we do our tradition, and that is fill in the blanks. Are you
Okay,
ready,
I'm
Leah?
ready. I hope.
Okay, all right, awesome, awesome. All right. So the first one is, if I am fearless, I will.
Boldly run towards my biggest dreams.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
Saying no when it doesn't serve my core values.
Oh, that's a good one. I need to learn to say no myself.
It's hard. Oh, it's hard. I'm still working on it. I mean, this is what I preach and teach, and I am still working on it. I mean,
Work
I
in
think,
progress.
yes. And I think, there's some of us who are like, we genuinely are people pleasers. And so it's always going to be, a
Right.
bit of a struggle. But
Yeah.
I definitely believe that like the more freedom I feel seems to be in direct connection with the more confident I am at saying no.
Nice. Nice. Love it. And then the last one is, my battle cry is.
I bring things into existence.
Oh, that's powerful. Okay.
That's my current one. That is my current, like, that is my mantra. That is like I bring things into existence. Like that is what I want to just emanate and believe and trust, is that like, I'm going to bring all the goodness, everything that I want for my kids and for our family. Like, I bring things into existence. So that's my cry right now.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. No, that's good. That's a powerful one. That can definitely create some magical things. So that's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you have to let everybody know again how they can reach out to you.
Oh, yes. I would love if you listen on this episode. You can find me on Instagram, Leah Remillet, Leah Remillet. If you're not driving, you can just text message yourself really quick and, remind yourself to do that. I would love to hear a DM that you found me through this amazing podcast. But you can go to balancingbusy.com, leahremillet.com. And you're listening to a podcast right now. So just as soon as you get done with this amazing episode, go and search Balancing Busy and find my podcast and take a quick second to subscribe so that you can start getting the episodes and take a listen.
Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Leah. We appreciate you.
Oh,
and we're looking forward
grateful.
to continued success. Oh, yeah. No worries. We've been looking forward to your continued success.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.